Hey all, thank you for jumping on with us this morning. I'm Jess. I work with Tim at DataFarming in customer success and various other things. If you've got any questions during this session this morning, the Q&A function should be working, so post them in there and we'll aim to answer them as we go. Either Tim will cover them off or we'll just write it in the chat portion, depending on where it fits best. But yeah, we're going to cover off a few topics, jump in as you like. And we're recording this session as well. So if you have to drop off or anything like that, you'll still be able to watch the recording on YouTube later. But yeah, I think we'll give everyone maybe like another minute and then kick off, probably, Tim.
I guess while we're waiting, we'll give a bit of background too. With these sessions, we're trying to sort of time them quite with where the crop's at the specific time. So there might be a little bit of overlap between some of these, but I think what we're trying to do is just provide some of the ways the tools can be used at different crop stages. And I guess it's a pretty start to the season for most, a pretty dry start to the season for most people out there at the moment. So, and I guess there's a fair bit of uncertainty around supply, particularly with nitrogen this year. And listening to the Ag Watchers podcast yesterday, they're predicting the higher prices. Normally after a spike in fertilizer prices, it sort of lasts around about 18 months. Historically, that is. It may not this time, but historically, once you have a big spike, it takes about 18 months to get back to normal. So we're in for a quite a long ride, unfortunately, with regards to fertilizer supply and prices. So I guess we'll be keen as the season progresses to do webinars around that as well, but we'll briefly touch on that today. So the things I guess we want to cover off today is around establishment and how, checking for crop establishment using the satellite imagery. We'll also just have a look at some moisture maps as well. We've got a new feature in there that looks at the canopy moisture content. And we'll jump into the platform in a minute, but I just want to cover off on a couple of other topics first that might be of interest. Like Jess said, feel free to throw your questions in the chat or just, I think, Jess, can they come off mute and chat, or is it just only chat only?
It's just Q&A function.
Q&A.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us. Like I said, a pretty tough start to the season for most people, so we're conscious of that and hoping that things break soon. Probably starting with those, I think there's lots of talk out there about fallowing this season, particularly for cereals. In 2026, across most winter growing areas, there's a lot of talk about that. Who knows how much will actually happen, but I suspect it'll be a lot higher than normal. So our new product WeedSAT is probably where it might come in handy for those that do have weeds that escape the early sprays and that they sort of follow through. It'll just target those larger, hard to kill weeds, like in a double knock sort of scenario, or if you've got PWM, or if you just got, like I was out on a farm the other day that had bad feather top, and we're able to use the WeedSAT just to pick out those patches of hard to kill feather top and target them specifically. So WeedSAT's our new product that uses super high resolution satellite data to detect weeds, and then we create a spot spray map from that feeds into your boom spray. We've had a lot of success with John Deere machines, and since as a result of that, we're actually doing an introductory offer for those with John Deere machines. Your first WeedSAT we'll do for $1,500, and it'll cover up to 300 hectares. So it gives you a bit of a taste about what the product can do, where it works, and how it actually fits into the boom spray. Those with connected machines, like particularly say Trimble and John Deere, where we can feed the data directly into the machines. Case you can as well, but we're getting the best success with John Deere. So this offer works with that. So let us know if you have any fields you want to follow where you do get those sort of bigger, hard to kill weeds. Happy to have a chat. Jess will be happy to take you through that. Just another quick reminder for those that are coming out of sorghum harvest. Travelling across the regions over the last couple of weeks, I see most of the sorghums come in now. There's still a bit of cotton picking going on, but for those that want to hook in and do their soil mapping, EM mapping, we have a machine available at the moment. We've got 5 machines across the country. One's actually available at the moment. So if you want to tuck in and do your EM mapping, then now's a good time to do that once harvest is finished. Typically, we're running these every 36 metres across a field. We hire them out at $5 a hectare, so you can hook them on the back of the ute or the gator and get that data, and it automatically transfers up into the cloud, processes on our software instantaneously. So just again, let Jess know if you're interested in doing that after sorghum harvest or after cotton, after you've busted country. Just let us know. We've actually had one grower one year put it on the back of their hiller machine so you could actually put it on machines as well. It's probably more ideal on a vehicle, but certainly if it's pretty rough, then you can use a tractor to do it as well. Just thought I'd mention it if you're in that scenario. And what I really want to talk about today is establishment and using the NDVI imagery as a really good way of helping you scout paddocks. This is a field we did a couple of years ago, and this is just to give you some examples because it's hard to find a few growing paddocks at the moment. But this sort of shows quite a lot of variability in the NDVI readings across that field. And if you look at the good areas of the field here, in particular, the establishment is good, nice and even, and it's in good order. But if we look at these sort of red areas, then there were sort of sandier parts of the field where the tines went in a bit too deep, and you can see there that the germination was probably impacted as well as the long-term establishment of that area as a result of that tine depth going too deep. So that's the kind of things where the imagery is picking up, even that's very, very tiny plants. It's still quite amazingly responsive to these changes. So it provides that early indication. We're also building a product which is not going to be released for now, but that will actually do a change detection between images to look at this in even more detail. But for now, just the image will provide that sort of early warning signs, if you like, or indications where there's establishment issues. But interestingly too, in this field, this red area in the middle here was actually over the long-term stack map, which is our by stacking multiple years together. Normally this area grows very well in the north there, but in this particular year it wasn't. So again, looking at your long-term stacking data and your now real-time imagery also might alert you to issues. Say something like slugs, for example, where over the long term it's normally grown pretty well, but this year it's eaten down. Then that could be an early warning sign. And we're trying to build some automation into that so that it automatically tells you where to go and check. So that's work in progress. Our data science team in Toowoomba here are working on that at the moment. So keep an eye out for that as we build more and more products into our offering. I'll jump onto the platform in a minute. I just quickly wanted to talk about some of our new releases that we're planning for this year as well. We've been working with GRDC for a couple of years on diseases, detecting diseases from satellite imagery. One of the key first outputs of that is to actually provide you with some disease risk alerting. So mostly we're only focusing right now on foliars in cereals, but we will expand this over time. So you can we've preloaded some disease risk models that we've been testing, and you will get alerting based on 1 day, 3 days, and 7 days out from today into the future, based on weather forecasts and the disease models coming together to give you an alert if there is a risk of disease. Clearly, if this season keeps going as a dry one, we're not going to see much disease, unfortunately, if it's going to be a dry season. But this might help just prepare growers for the potential of disease coming, and looking at that preemptively as well. We are still working on detecting disease from satellite. We've made some great progress on our research over the last few years, but we're still a little way away from providing disease mapping from satellite. But there's certainly some exciting work that we've uncovered, and look forward to bringing that probably next season, where we can actually start to map outbreaks of disease. The other thing we're working on with CSIRO and GRDC is frost detection. Now, it's not actually detecting the damage of frost, but it's detecting the surface temperature from satellite. So looking at because there's a satellite that's actually imaging Australia every 15 minutes, and it's a reasonably coarse resolution satellite, but we're working with CSIRO they're bringing that down to a finer scale. So we're working on that at the moment, and that will be, well, hopefully we'll be ready for the frost season. Not that anyone wants to see any frost, but particularly if you're an agronomist out there, that's there's a frost event, and sometimes the dry years bring out the frosts, where we can give you early, quick indications within 24 hours of where those coldest areas might be, and sending you to those areas to help try and detect any issues that way. Like I said, it's not actually picking up the damage, it's picking up surface temperature, but at least it might give you a pointer in where to go quickly, because I know, doing this in the past myself, where you get 20 phone calls in the morning saying I've had a frost, come out and have a look, and you're trying to diagnose and sort of do early indications of that damage. So look forward to pushing that out this year. So look forward for that. Look for that as well. And another exciting product that Peter's been absolutely getting very excited about is our new digital agronomist. We're calling him Jonesy, and he'll be able to answer questions about the imagery that you're looking at, about general agricultural questions, even questions about the farm. So he'll help understand the sort of issues that might be you're seeing in the imagery, or understanding the disease risk alertings that we're sending out, those kind of things. And we'll build the capability of this over time. So we're very excited to start that, and you'll see an app coming out shortly. It will pop up in your login, and we'll also have what do you call them? Native apps. So on your for your phone, that will also have this capability, and we'll be interacting with our software over time. So any questions on that? Look forward to that.
Tim, just a question from Maka. He's just wondering if disease alerting will work with the Scout sensor system.
You mean BioScout? I think that's probably what you mean, Maka. We are talking to BioScout about how to combine those things. They're doing some of their own stuff as well. Obviously, they've got a sensor that goes in the field. It measures the spore. It actually takes a sample of air. It looks for spores at a microscopic level, and then using AI, it detects which spore it is, and then sends you an alert. They're also integrating the risk alerting into their stuff as well. But we're a sister project of GRDC, so we are talking to them as well. Any more questions while we're on it?
That's it for now.
Cool. Just a quick reminder before I get into the platform, the pricing and the different tiers. You might not be aware, but we've recently, well, it was actually a few months ago now, we released a Pro tier, which will give you unlimited access to all the prescription maps, stack analysis, field trials, and even pulling your John Deere yield data. And we'll also process other yield data for you. We'll do 10 farms for you as well per year. So if you do have farms with other equipment, then we can process that for you and push that into the back end for you, so you can access the yield data on your farms as well. So just thought I'd mention that quickly. Those prices will increase on July 1, so we're going to grandfather those people that have bought subscriptions in the past. So if you do want to get into these subscriptions and you haven't done already, then now's the time before we have a price increase on July 1, which will bring a lot more features, but we're happy to honour that pricing for another 12 months for you if you get in early. These prices now are either in the platform, and also they're also all described on the website as well in detail. So this will also be updated with all the frost and disease alerting in the near future when we bring them out. So let's jump across to the platform.
And one more question. With the frost function, will it document timeframes at certain temperatures?
What we've done is we're going to probably do two things. One will be the lowest temperature on the day. So you'll just see the lowest recorded temperature. You know how I said it was every 15 minutes. It will just take the lowest reading of that day and present that. It also does duration. So I forget what the threshold is now. It might be under 0. Can't remember. So it's hours under 0. I think it's an hours of temperature under a certain temperature. So I think it's 0 degrees. So say it's 3 hours under 0. So we'll present that as well. So you'll see that what was the minimum temperature, and then what was the duration under 0 degrees. So you can get a picture then. Did it last 5 minutes, or was it several hours, or whatever? So that's the good thing about this satellite. It's capturing every 15 minutes. Regardless. So, one of the problems is cloud, but typically when we get frost, it's when we get big highs sitting over us and dump a lot of cold weather, so cold conditions. So hopefully most of the time when we're getting those big frosts, it's cloud free, but it does remove the cloud because cloud's very cold in the upper atmosphere, and we will then present two different readings, and it will come up under your layers tab here. So there'll be a frost layer under your layers tab.
And Sparky's just asking, is that off the CSIRO satellite maps we were playing with?
Yes, that is. And we'll hopefully have the downscaling this year, Sparky, which will downscale to 30 meters. They've made some improvements, and we should have that out this year, hopefully. And we'll be doing a lot of testing, so I'll give you a call, Sparky, do some testing this year. I'm hoping we don't get frost, of course, but that's sometimes what happens in these dry years. Cool. So I've just pulled up an image from a client we've been working with this season to do some variable rate with, and I guess the key thing is understanding what the NDVI actually means. We provide again, importantly, I still see some users clicking on every layer and just forgetting about the cloud button. So I guess we provide down the bottom there, you can see the sunny symbol, but it's a good idea just to double check with your color imagery as well. So you can just do layers and color image, and it will provide you with that color image on that particular day. So just do that to make sure there's no blobs of cloud over the middle of your fields. So let's go back to our NDVI. So I've just picked a date that's not cloudy, because you can see here that 90% cloud, 48%, 12%. So again, even this one, 12% cloud, I don't think it had any cloud over this field. So again, just remember to use that feature. so that you don't get caught out. We've had a few people getting caught out. There's one. There's a classic. So yeah, that's a cloud shadow right there. So I wouldn't be relying on that information because it will be interrupting your NDVI readings. So just double check that. So yeah, if we look at an NDVI map here, generally anything over 0.2 NDVI is where we start to see the cutoff. And so 0.3 would definitely be vegetation. So in this case, this is an early map here where you can see the average NDVI reading here is 0.3. So it's been dominated a little bit by these gullies with a bit of vegetation in them, but generally in the greeny and light yellow areas is where we're seeing crop growth. So if you're getting over that 0.3, then definitely we're starting to see growth. And so that's probably how you understand your NDVIs. Like I said, we'll be looking at products to actually take away the base layer bare soil imagery, and that way we'll get even more accurate with our germination and establishment checks. But for now, that's the way to read this. So just keep in mind 0.3 is where we start to see that growth, maybe 0.25. So that's the critical level where stubble disappears and the crop takes over. And if you, excuse me, if you think about that last image I showed, it doesn't take, like, it's amazing that a 10 megapixel satellite like this actually can detect very, very small plants because it's like a chlorophyll content per 100 square meters almost. It's very sensitive for picking up those small changes in chlorophyll. The other thing I didn't mention that we are working on is green on green. We get a lot of inquiry for early detection of ryegrass in wheat. We won't be able to pick it up in an early stage, but certainly we are seeing it in the satellites coming through. When the ryegrass gets a bit more density, we are seeing that. So again, keeping in mind where you do see these higher NDVIs early on, it might be ryegrass as well. So just keep an eye out for that. The other layer that we've got, if you are on a advanced or pro subscription, you get access to a lot more algorithms. So under layers, standard resolution, you can come down and see, you get these first three in the free program, but there's also red edge index, NDRE it's called. It's very good for nitrogen. So as the season progresses and you want to do variable rate nitrogen, I would definitely be looking at your red edge index. The red edge index uses a different part of the light spectrum between the red and the infrared light. It's very, very sensitive to nitrogen. And last year, a lot of our customers used the NDRE index for their nitrogen applications. Another one I want to draw your attention to is moisture. So if I tick on the moisture index here, it's a bit coarser pixel. It's actually 20 meters by 20 meters rather than 10 meter by 10 meter. But it does give you an indication of where the crop is using water and where it's drying out. This is a little bit early to be using it, but it does work well in pastures as well because it does pick up sort of like ground cover changes. But particularly as the crop grows, you could be looking at those stressed areas. So again, if we do get a dry season, use the moisture to look at the differences in the crop. And I'd be cautious, where you do, like, again, the moisture is just relative, so it's not giving you an absolute number. But if you go into the field and have a look, this is well beyond what we can see with our eyes. So you might not see these effects, but again, I'd caution putting too much nitrogen in areas that are water stressed, and this will pick up that water stress quite nicely. The other thing this will do, we are finding in our research, the moisture will pick up disease hotspots. So we are building some disease-specific algorithms at the moment, but it might be an early warning sign we've had where you might have a disease hotspot because the plant's going into moisture stress. So it's a bit of a blunt instrument, but again, it might be a handy, useful tool for trying to work out where to apply nitrogen, to do your crop scouting, that kind of thing. So it does use that higher spectrum for that work. So again, we'll bring more products out in this area, but this is available to you now, and it's available. You can go back in time.
Tim, just a question on this. Is the blue high moisture?
Yeah, it's using a lot of water. There's a lot of moisture in the leaf, and it's pumping water through the plant. It's just interesting that it directly coincides with NDVI right now, but as the crop grows, you might see that change, and the NDVIs might look okay, and your moistures don't. So again, something to use as the season progresses. Just quickly on PCD is one we normally use in vineyards, so it's not as relevant, but again, it might be as the season progresses, it might be another index that gives you a little bit more insight, might represent what you're seeing on the ground a bit better as the crop grows. They're all pretty much the same at this stage because it's more very, very early stage. You can see, even on the colour image there, you can see there's almost nothing growing. So any more questions on that?
Yep. So can the moisture be used to show surface soil?
Yes. Yeah. We actually looked at a paddock the other day that was waterlogged last year, and funnily enough, those areas, I was blown away. We actually looked at it post-harvest, and those areas were showing up. It will only be the surface soil moisture though, very, very surface. Like I'm talking a couple of centimeters. So just keep that in mind. So it's picking up moisture and in the leaf or on the surface soil as well. There is some other opportunities that I love that I've got in my to-do list and want-to-do list. There are some satellite images different to this that will actually pick up soil water down to 5 centimeters. Now, that might seem meaningless in the north where we are, but if you are seeding and you want to plant into moisture, then it might be quite useful. So that's another product I want to build in time. I've got a lot to do, but yeah, there is other products to measure a little bit deeper into the soil profile. It's using radar technology, not imaging technology. As we know, as I'm alluded to, we're going to be limited in nitrogen supply this year. There's no doubt about it. Most people, from what I'm hearing, are right for seeding. So how do I handle this? And we did this with this grower actually the other day, where we had a limited amount of N to apply, and we did variable rate across this whole farm. If you are on the advanced or pro subscription, you can actually do variable rate on more than one paddock at a time. If you're not, you can just do it at a field at a time. That's fine, whatever, if you're happy with that. But we did all the fields all at once. And so you can select model fields, go to and create prescription maps. You have to select the field first and then go, I want to create a prescription map. And you might call it nitrogen 2026 on cereals. So naming is important here so that you can refer back to it. We might just use our standard resolution, but say the crop's growing a bit further on, you might want to use something like the red edge index, for example. You can select your date, and we'll go back and use this one that we were looking at a minute ago. And so it's bringing up that image we were looking at before. You can quickly then start to zone up on that. So, you can pick 2, 3, 4, or 5 zones at 5 meter, 25 meter, 50 meter, and 100 meter resolutions. And I'll show you what that's like in a sec. You can just quickly do that again on NDVI. So you can quickly change between the number of zones that you want. So it's just about what do you know about that field? How many zones do you want for application of N, for example? If you're using a spreader, then you might just want to, do it at 50 meters. But if you're wanting to get down to, say, UAN application through a boom spray, and you want to do it really, really fine detail, you might want to do it at that scale. So, it's up to you how you want to treat that field and what sort of resolution. You can see it's just getting more and more coarser or finer as I click through that. So, say you wanted to keep it pretty simple, want 3 zones, want to do it for the spreader, I can actually go next. And as the season progresses, you might want to put on, say, on these poor areas, you want to boost them up a little bit. You might want to put 80 kgs urea on, 60 here, only 40 in the good areas to make sure they don't get overcooked. Straight away down the bottom there, you can see you got 10.7 tons of product needed on this. I think it's about 170. Yeah, there we go. 172 hectare field. You need 10 tons of urea in this particular case if you're putting those rates on with those zones. So again, if we are heading into, this is a bit early, I know, to be talking about, but I've sort of preempted. If you are heading into a urea limited situation, then this is a way to manage that. And then you can just say, right, we only got 8 tons of product available. Well, let's cut back these to 60, 40, etc. Then we're at 8 tons of product now, 8,000 kilos of product down the bottom. Does that make sense to everyone? Like it's just a way of trying to balance what we've got. The other thing is you can say you don't like these little blobs in the middle here. You can just grab your paintbrush against each zone and colour them in. So you say, right, I don't actually, I know what's going on down different areas of the field. I might want to change those zones, for example. So you can just get your paintbrush and do that, and you can see as you do that the amount of product you need changes down the bottom. Once you hit create prescription map, it's going away now and creating that map, and you can go back and view that now. Back in here, there's that one I did in 2026 cereals. And there's the rates on the right-hand side there, 60, 40, 40 as we just did. And you can go in there and also edit those rates and re-export that file. If you do want to change your mind or anything, you can do that. It's, again, unlimited on your Pro subscription or pay-per use on free or advanced subscriptions as well. Just trying to make the process really simple. Then you can just download that file. There you go, it's downloaded. And there's your prescription map ready to go into your machine or push directly across to My John Deere, for example, and getting put into your machine. Any questions on that at all?
No questions on that, but we've got a question from Chris around how much of the functionality is available in New Zealand. So specifically probably around frost and disease alerting.
Good question. Yeah, frost won't be available. I think it'll only be Australia only. I'll ask the team about that. Jess will check with the team on that one, whether that satellite that hovers over Australia actually does cover New Zealand. And the disease risk alerting, again, we're using the Bureau of Meteorology, so it will be Australia only. We were actually, no, Jess, we're using in Australia, we're using the Bureau stuff, but I think internationally we can do that, can't we? So I got a feeling it will be working internationally because we're using that the multiple, what do you call it, multiple model weather predictions. So Chris, maybe we'll take that offline and we'll check with the team and see if that's available for you in New Zealand.
Yeah, we'll send a update out with the video and everything after this.
Good question though. We thought about it and how far we're going and wide, but I think because now we're using a global model, I think it could work. Yeah, and Chris, also let us know which disease you're particularly interested in. We are focusing on foliars and cereals for the moment, but if you've got any other diseases that you're interested in, just let us know and we'll see if we can get the models together, test them, and see if we can implement those as well.
Cool. That's all our questions for now, Tim.
Cool. That's all I had to cover off on. If you do have any challenges, issues with the platform that you need help with, if you want a one-on-one tutorial, Jess loves doing those. We do plenty of those for people. Reach out via the phone number on the website. It will ring either Jess or myself. Also, you can send an email at any time to support@datafarming.com.au. We'll help you out. We've got a whole team that can help diagnose problems, or if you've got problems with boundaries or you want help with the prescriptions, feel free to reach out, let us know. Always happy to help. Contact us that way. Or send us an email and we can work through anything you need.
Yeah, and we'll send out this video alongside the previous webinar session that we did and some a demo that we've got that shows the full pro functionality and everything you can do with that as well. So hopefully that'll cover off any urgent questions that you might have. But yeah, if there's no other questions, give it a minute in case anyone wants to post anything. We'll knock off.
Thank
So
you.
just in the Q&A, guys, if you do have a question.
All good. Thank you very much for everyone for coming.
Cool. Thanks all. Yeah. We'll follow up. Cheers.